Not any nights they came. They only came on the third night. Everybody thought the third night was not an important night, but turned out to be that was the night I was on. And so when they see the press media, they see the pic because there was two baritone. So I'm the cast B. The cast A is a different baritone, and so they only see pictures of me, and they only saw videos of me. That was
So you were the only one that appeared in the media.
So I was the baritone then.
Bravo,
that's how I understand your feeling.
Yeah, and cheers to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess you have been busy teaching your students during this time.
Oh yes. Since my performing had to take a back order because I couldn't come to Singapore to do any productions. I was supposed to record for Rick's Progress last year because unfortunately I couldn't perform on stage. So they were very resourceful. They turned it into a puppet show, but with our voices. I thought that was a very interesting idea. I was to record it, and then I couldn't come to record. I mean, even though NOS New Opera Singapore tried to get a visa for me, but I was denied to come. As they said that I posed a pandemic risk to Singapore. I was fully vaccinated, audience. Hello. And I was angry with the MOH, the Ministry of Health, because there was this before there was this karaoke cluster with all these Vietnamese hostess who had sponsors to come into Singapore. They get visas to stay in Singapore doing illegal things. When I am doing proper things, I was denied. So does it mean that I should be a prostitute?
I tell you, we are at Tanglin Shopping Centre. This was one of the shopping centres that the famous Vietnamese lady did her karaoke work in. That's why for the longest time I've been telling people we can't sing karaoke at Tanglin Shopping Centre, but you can still come here for singing lessons, and you are still welcome to come here for singing lessons. Just saying.
I mean real singing. We're talking about not any other activities. So because of that, I couldn't. Unfortunately, I couldn't join the cast, so I was replaced immediately, which I understand. I wasn't feeling. I felt sad, but I was not upset. I was understanding. So that I just let go of that, and I concentrated more on teaching. And so because sometimes the student cannot come, so I learned how to use Zoom. And so I've been teaching new students and old students on Zoom during the time when the pandemic was serious. And also, when I started to take overseas holidays, even though I have to go back to Hong Kong quarantine even now, which is unfortunate, and there's nothing I can do about it, but I want my life back. I want my traveling life back. That's why I'm here. And so I still use Zoom to teach students and live teaching. And my teaching has been improving. I'm getting more and more students. I'm getting busier. And how are you doing with the Zoom? How do you find this app?
That is something that we all had to get used to, right? And to learn to handle during
Zoom is not good for singing lessons. When the soprano sing in the higher note, the Zoom just seems to cut out the voice.
Absolutely, like the moment they go into their head voice, the Zoom just cuts it off.
So I tell you what, I discovered a little secret. One of my other students, who is also a piano teacher, and she suggested, why don't we try to use Google Meet? I said, Google Meet, does it work? And I tried it. Google Meet has a better bandwidth to handle voices and also music. So finally, I used Google Meet to teach her. She's a soprano. And I could hear every note.
It doesn't cut off the high notes. It doesn't cut off the piano sounds. I have to give it
only a little bit of the piano sound, but that note, the voice, it's still an improvement. Try that. I mean, it's free anyway. You don't even need to pay to join, because with Zoom, if you don't pay, you only get like 40 minutes. You have to log off, which I think is very sneaky. But then again, I guess they are running business. With Google, there's no need.
I think Zoom is still good for business, meetings.
Meetings.
But for music, it's not very easy.
What's good with Zoom is that you can set an exclusive room to yourself, and each time people come in to see you, it's always the same room key, always the same number. But with Google Meet, each time you get a new set of keys.
Oh no, you can have the same password.
You can
each time.
I don't know. I have to explore that.
Well, how any like thoughts and feelings about how your class, your students have been evolved under your guidance? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I've seen some of your students' performance videos that you post on your social media, and I have to say that I feel that we share the same kind of mentality where, or rather the same methodology where we both come from opera backgrounds, bel canto backgrounds, but we are adaptable to helping them with musical theatre, with pop music, yeah, which I feel all of it is just it's just a good efficient way of using the voice and the body to produce sound. So there shouldn't be any difference in the way that we sing classical versus pop versus musical theatre. I mean, there's a difference in style, of course, but technically it can apply.
Well,
Yes,
the breathing is important.
Yeah.
I do have students that performs in musicals. I even have a student that does Chinese opera.
Oh,
He came to me many years ago already. I mean, I've been teaching him for 10 years, but he only take one lesson a month. And I asked him, his name is Patrick.
right.
And I asked him, why did you come and learn singing from a Western opera singer when you're a Chinese opera singer? Because he said his Chinese opera teacher doesn't teach him how to like really use the brush support properly and how to like loosen up the jaw and all that, because they have a different Cantonese. You can have a different ideas about how to place the sound. I'm not going to go into that because that's a cultural thing. I mean, the sound is very metallic and
It's a
hard.
stylistic difference.
Because the instrument they are singing to is also very hard to sing. You need to have that piercing voice. If you use that technique to sing opera, it's all wrong. So I always tell the students, okay, you will benefit from a bit of this classical singing method I teach you. Even if you're going to singing heavy metal rock or Cantonese karaoke, it all comes from the same slung.
Yes, it can apply, absolutely.
And so I tell them, and don't try to put art into it first. When you first started to learn to sing, look at it like a science first. First comes the science, then the art. What I mean by the science is you have to learn to recognize the physical aspect of your voice, like the mouth, the tongue, and the diaphragm. What are they doing, and then how are you going to incorporate all that so that it will do what you want it to do, which will goes to the brain, and the brain, you should also trust the brain. A lot of people try to sing and say they're too conscious of, oh, here comes a high note. Oh, when you starting to think, I'm not sure. I used to sing like that. When I sing an aria, I know a high note's coming. I used to keep worrying about it. So when the high note came, I screwed up. I cracked. I mean, it's still very hard for me now to hit high note. But the thing is, I starting to let the brain take over, and then you remember the high note is only that 9% of that whole aria. Why should you ruin the whole aria for that 1 or 2% of it? So when everything is lined up, because you can always find out the reason why you crack. It is always, I don't know how about you, are you always when the phrase before or the few words before when you sang like on a certain vowel sound, you didn't place it well enough in order to transition into the next in the line, and so that's why you cracked. Do you find that too?
Well, yes.
How do you see it?
And I feel that these, I guess we call it bad habits, but
Yes, it's very hard to break.
Yeah, I would describe them as reflexes actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these whatever you call them, they are things that we have to constantly remind ourselves, and as we take on more challenging repertoire, we have to continue to kind of rewire our psychology and our muscle memory to kind of not freak out at these key moments, because as the notes are in our range.
What was going through your mind when you did, like for example, Macbeth had a few high notes. What was in your mind when you knew the high notes were coming? Could you share with us?
It was over many months of rehearsals, and some rehearsals went well, some went not so well.
So you did have some not so well rehearsals.
Yes, and I was fine tuning my techniques, trying out different things along the way until when it was close to showtime, I told myself I've already done everything that I could. Now I'm just gonna go out there and enjoy the experience. Just enjoy. Finally, having the opportunity to perform my dream role of Macbeth. Yeah, and then just trust that all the preparation did its job. Yeah,
that's what I talk about. The brain things, because when you trust your brain and rehearsal is important. Practice are so important.
Yes.
When the singer failed, often they wouldn't they wouldn't realize or admit that they haven't practiced enough.
Yes. And that's why I tell all my students and and all of you singing students out there, practice like you are performing. Come to class ready to perform. And then when you are performing, you will be ready.
It would be like just performing.
If you come to class and put on half an effort, under sing, and then there's very little that your teachers can do for you.
And also you're wasting your time and money too.
Do your homework, revise your lyrics, revise your technique before you come, and then you get so much more out of your lessons.
So how do you find when your students come unprepared? Like last time, it was still like starting from the same place. How do you handle that? Do you have students like that?
I do, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, if it's a weekly thing, if there's no show to build towards, no exam to look forward to, I do tell them that if you don't prepare, then the class is just a revision.
It's just a paid practice, I call it.
Yeah, exactly. And I just kind of go through what we've just done and try to hold my temper in. Where I lose my temper is when the show time, when exam time is drawing near.
You have a target to meet.
And it's still the same standard. Yeah, that is when I really get mad.
How did you get mad at them? Did you hit them?
Have you seen my music video, Use Your Tummy?
No, I haven't actually.
Oh, okay. Well,
you have to show it to me.
You have to watch it. You have to show it to all your students, and it's kind of
What about this use your tummy thing? You're talking about breast.
Yeah. It's something that I say to the students all the time, and I thought one day, well, I'm just gonna make it into a song, Yeah, I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
Yeah. So I get mad and I tell them that well, do you want to succeed on stage or not, or do you want to make a fool of yourself on stage?
What did they say?
I just kind of laid bare to them what they usually don't have anything to reply.
They haven't had an inkling of what's coming to them, right?
Exactly. It's kind of like that's why it's important to have shows and exams. For the good students, a show or an exam is a way to reward them for putting in the due diligence. For the bad students, it's a way to kind of throw them into the deep end and see if they sink or swim.
Throw them to the lion or something like that. Yeah.
And if the week of the show time, despite all my nagging and yelling, they still don't buck up, then
there's nothing you can do.
We'll just have to have them learn from experience.
I suppose you can learn from all the mess ups. I learned from the mess ups.
Yeah.
But I never really remembered myself being half-hearted when I go into singing lesson, because I do love singing, and I always go to my singing lessons prepared.
Absolutely.
I always prepare. That's why my singing lessons are always very fruitful. They're always a step ahead. They are not like stuck. I stay stuck only on technical point, which my teacher is not angry with me, because technique-wise, sometimes you can't get something in just 1 week.
Right. It's such an abstract thing.
It's a muscle memory you need to learn.
Yes.
You cannot just do it in 1 day. And you have to be patient, be kind to your voice too. Keep singing a high note, screaming is not going to get you there. And be careful of the theory. If you think you can. Sometimes you can't.
Yeah, you have to be able to do it consistently well first. Yeah, to be able to do it reliably on stage.
I suppose you have to be a very, very realistic judge of yourself.
Yeah, because if let's say for a particular high note, if like out of 10 times you can do it 3 times, you're not gonna do it during show time. Let's just say
it's risky. Always sing something you're comfortable with.
Yeah, no, because if you can do it if you can sing well only when you feel well, guess what? When you're on stage, you're not gonna feel well. You have done many practices and rehearsals before showtime. You are nervous. You have weird costumes and headpieces to deal with, technical, acoustical differences. You're not gonna feel well. Okay, so you have to be able to sing well even when you don't feel so well.
The nerve kills you, because I remember a couple of years ago when I did the Moon for Summer Night Stream. I was using one of these, the one you're using for your video now, the lights, that ring light. They brought me one of those ring lights to act as a halo, and it was connected to a portable power bank, and I would carry it in my pockets. So I come and sing the Moon, and then I'm supposed to switch on the power bank, and the second night it didn't work. So when I sang the moon, and then I tried to switch on, I was fiddling with them. People were laughing, and the production manager loved it. But I was so panicked because it was definitely a technical form, but hopefully not the voice. But it really, really took my nerve. But it turned out to be effective because it's a comedy.
Yeah.
But if it is not a comedy, if it is a Macbeth, that would be Macbeth.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cheers to that. Yeah. Well, would you like to hear Francis and I do a number? Yeah. Well, okay. So let's do. Do you remember that we did this recital at the Armenian Church in 2019?
Yeah,
a musical sanctuary, right? And we did Sound the Trumpet by Henry Purcell.
Oh yes, we can do that. I almost forgot we did that song. That's what the pandemic did.
Yeah. It seems like a past lifetime, right?
Well, it's the reason to sound the trumpet now.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, so I hope that you guys will enjoy our video of Sound the Trumpet by Henry Purcell. Cheers.
Cheers.
Any parting words for our viewers? I would love to see you perform in Singapore again.
Well, I hope to be able to find some venues and reasons for me to come back to Singapore to perform. I do love the audience here. I love the energy here. I have an affinity to this place. I felt like Singapore is like my second home. I have relatives that lived here, and I have wonderful friends like you, for example.
Thank you.
And maybe we can do something together in future, like before.
Yeah. Well, let's see how the future turns out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy to be back, and I wish all of you good health. And if it is time for your fourth jab, think about it. If you need it, just do it. And I admire Singapore because you have opened up already and everything back to normal. There's no need to wear masks outside, and also you don't have to come back for quarantine. How I wished I was a Singaporean. But I'm still stuck in this what you were last year. So wish me luck. I hope that I can come to Singapore often without having to quarantine, so that I can do more things here.
Yeah. Well, all the best. All the best.
All
to
the
you,
best.
Francis.
Yeah. Cheers, Singapore.
I would love to come and perform with you in Hong Kong.
Yes, when Hong Kong opens up,
days.
I would love to have you. But if you're willing to do 7 days quarantine, I don't think you should do it.
Yeah, well, when things open up, I see these videos of the endless quarantines.
Oh, it's mad, especially one in China. Shanghai lockdown.
But you know what? Here's to more happy stuff in the future. And
cheers.
Here's to more stage time together. Cheers.
Cheers.
And with that, thank you for enjoying another episode of the Mad Scene Live. And we hope that you have enjoyed our little chit chat. See you soon.
Bye.